course, we're going to be focusing on the top of the field. So these are the best players from day number 1 of competition, setting down to draft together this morning. But how did it shake out, starting with pod number 1, Corey?
Pod number 1 is always a very intimidating thing to be a part of. I mean, not that I would know, but we got Christian Baker as our lone undefeated player there at 8-0. We'll be checking him out a little bit later. Ian Robb, fresh off that top 8, and fan favorite Ken Yukihiro at 7-1 as well.
Dropout number 2, also exceptional. We've got Shota Yasaoka in there, the Hall of Famer. We have Eli Cassis, who has a staggering 70% day 1 win rate. And also David Ruud, who won a Pro Tour 20 years ago, so maybe looking for another one this time around.
All right, let's check out draft pod number 3. And you know I got to shout out Bob Marr, Dirt Confident himself at 6-2. Used his Hall of Fame invite to come here and play this Pro Tour. And he told me yesterday, I've never drafted the set. And guess what? He went 3-0 in draft.
Amazing. He also started playing when I was 2 years old.
Okay,
so
Corey,
I thought that was pretty awesome, I must say. So pod 4, these players are still doing really great. 6-2 record. If they do that again, they got a solid chance at the top 8. We got Max Rappaport, Arno Huchenbeck, and Moriyama here at 6-2 as our very notable names.
Let's take a look at our feature match area as our pod 1 arrives for draft this morning, ready to sit down and draft. We're going to be watching our featured drafter, Christian Baker, our lone 8-0 player, the only one undefeated in the entire field. I asked Christian, hey man, what's your goal here going into draft this morning? And he said, try not to train wreck. I mean, that's definitely what you're thinking, right? You go undefeated overnight. You're like, please do not let this be a disaster. Yeah. It's so tough at these levels.
Yeah, 8-3 looks a lot different than, you know, getting a 2-1 and being 10-1.
Absolutely. Yeah. Take a look at Christian's day yesterday. Of course, he didn't lose the entire day, but it was not easy. A lot of 2-1s, which means he had to play a lot of Magic. You're getting fatigued, and just a little different decision, draw, whatever, could have changed one of those into a loss. So razor thin margins there. Can Christian Baker remain undefeated? We're about to find out. Let's take a look at our broadcast team. Who'll be hanging out with us this weekend. We have Marshall Sutcliffe and Paul Cheon in the booth, the GOATs, as well as Cedric Phillips and Monty Devuti, the other GOATs in the booth. I love all these guys, and I'm so very excited for draft this morning. This format is so sweet. I'm going to watch it, and I'll be playing it too. I'm going to pass it on over to Marshall and Paul.
Thank you, Maria. Was Corey doing the red steel on that picture?
There it is.
I think
that's just his normal face.
It's back again.
That's just his resting face.
He wakes up like that. Welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Final Fantasy. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon, and it is time to draft. So down in the feature match area, we have pod 1. So the way this works is, if you were with us yesterday, all the pods are randomized on the first day, but on the second day, they are in order of standing. So these are the players that are at the very top of the standings. That means that if you're in pod 1, you're playing against a bunch of really good players, and it gets quite difficult. Let's take a look at the pod here as we go around the table. You can see Ken Yukihiro. There's Tony Portolon down there. We've seen some amazingly good days here from all of our players, but the best of the bunch, Christian Baker, upper left-hand side there on 8-0, Paul.
Yeah, really, really good start. Ian Robb also on here, top 8 of the last Pro Tour. So, I mean, this is actually a fairly stacked Pro Tour. You have a lot of old and new faces, but these new faces who've had some recent success running it back in this event as well.
There's Jody Keith over there, lots of success.
All right, good morning, players.
All right, so let's join our feature draft here. This is Carlos, who's going to be calling the draft for us.
And you can
open. And he is going to be giving the players instructions on each action that they can take and when they can take it.
You can just check the.
There's Christian right there. Pack one, pick one. Nearly upon us. This is the best part of the Pro Tour.
He's probably thinking Smuggler's Copter.
Yes.
Smuggler's Copter. One of the best cards in the entire format and goes in any deck.
All right, pick up the pack. You have 40 seconds.
Let's see if Christian can open something great here. So far, Light of Judgment, Blitzball, there's a Barrett Walls, Quistis Trepe.
Yeah, so I think
Summon Anima. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's
100%.
There's a bunch of okay uncommons. I like Quistis probably the best here, just because I do like drafting both the blue-red and blue-black control decks, and Quistis is fantastic in those decks. Just being able to buy back a card draw spell or a removal spell is very, very nice. And if you take it early, you can just make sure if there's a close pick, you take the spell. and try to build around it. So Quistis is, I think, the pretty decent option here. There's a bunch of other uncommons that are okay. Garland is fine if you're
5
the black-red
seconds.
spells deck, but you would prefer to take a monocolored card just because it's more likely to end up in your deck.
Yeah, I like
And
that
draft.
Quistis Trepe pick. Unexciting, I will say.
Shuffle and
Quistis
pass
is
13
pretty
cards to your
good.
left.
Can hit your opponent's graveyard as well,
Right.
so it does offer a lot of play. But it is not mana efficient.
Pick up the cards, you have 35 seconds.
So let's see if Christian can find a little bit of a path going forward here. There's Fang. Okay, Lock Cole, one of our favorites. Ooh, Summon Fat Chocobo.
Chocobo.
Nice common.
Zell?
Zeldinked, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't see what the...
it was a
what the-
Finn. Finn
a
the Fang.
Finn. Oh, yeah, Finn the Fang Bear. Okay.
So, based out of this pack, I mean, given that you first picked the Quistis, I think a Lock Cole would be a really nice consideration just because it pairs so well with the Quistis. But of course, Summon Fat Chocobo also is a
seconds.
premium common. So I think those are the two cards to really consider out of this pack.
Wow, he went with Summon Fat Chocobo. Yeah, I like Lock Cole a
Draft,
little better
pass
there,
12
but
cards to your left.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And blue-green is a really cool place to be because you can branch out from there.
Pick up the
It's,
Right.
it's
packs.
almost
You
trivial
have
to get
30
into
seconds.
black from blue-green, and then you can even go all the way up to 5 colors if you're really ambitious. Ooh, there's a Thunder Magic.
Yeah, Thunder Magic, one of the best commons in the set here. Works nicely with the Quistis, right? You kill something early. Even for 4 mana, you can kill something again. So feels like it's going to be the pick here, most likely. Right now, Christian's just trying to figure out what the best cards are in each pack. No need to settle into a color combination just yet, and just take the objectively most powerful card
seconds.
in each pack.
Yeah, this format is really wide open. Basically, any color pair outside of green-red
Draft.
is equal.
Pass
Green-red's
11
a few
cards to your
percentage
left.
below that on average, but even then, you can still play it.
Absolutely.
We saw Matt
up the
Nass
cards, you have
draft
25 seconds.
Gruul yesterday, although it wasn't very good. His deck wasn't
Right.
very good, and again, it's not the best archetype. In fact, it is actually the worst archetype, but you can make anything work in the format.
Absolutely.
It's more about finding what your seat wants you to do, and I gotta say, this pack isn't really pushing Christian in any strong direction.
Yeah, the cards that the best cards here are Hectize.
5
Hectize
seconds.
would be interesting to take had he taken the Lock Cole,
Mm-hmm.
right, to kind of solidify yourself into maybe a Demir control deck.
Draft.
What is that?
Pass 10 cards to
Light
your
up
left.
the stage. Okay.
Wow.
That's a card
Okay.
I haven't played all that often.
Pick
It's
up
a
the
little
cards,
bit
you have
better if
25
you're on the
seconds.
more aggressive side, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you want your curve to be kind of lower.
Okay, well, we'll
Okay,
see where
sure.
it goes. I think Christian's still mostly just staying open.
Yeah.
Rydia's return in green. What is the... Is it a Town Greeter?
Yeah, I mean, Town
Oh,
Greeter
yeah.
is the best card in this pack, I think, so I think I would take that here. Rydia's return is
seconds.
fine,
Yeah.
but Town Greeter is just so impressive in this format. A lot of people look at this and go, oh, it's just a 2-mana 1/1, but
Draft.
not only is it a
Pass
2-mana
9
1/1 that
cards
gets you a
to your
land,
left.
which is already great, but there's flashback cards, there's archetypes that care about
Pick up
number
the
of
cards, you
permanents
have
in your
20
graveyard.
seconds.
It just kind of does everything you want in most of your green decks.
Ooh, there's
Wow.
a suplex. That's actually getting fairly late. That's a 6th pick suplex.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely the pick here. And
Hmm.
right now, if you're looking at Christian's deck,
seconds.
you're like, okay, should we do Gruul? Maybe is it? Maybe Teamer? But red certainly feels open given that you
Draft.
did see that late suplex.
Pass 8 cards to your left.
We are veering towards Gruul. Take a look at
Pick
the
up the cards, you have
snapshot
20
here. A
seconds.
blue card first pick, and then everything else has been green or red. Oh, and there's a
Oh.
Summon Fat Chocobo.
Look, I mean, even though Gruul is considered to be one of the weaker archetypes, if it's wide open, I mean, you still move in.
Yes.
You know, this is definitely, it still feels different than maybe the
5
draft that we
seconds.
saw yesterday, where after pack 1, we're like, this is kind of a weak Gruul deck. These are nice cards. Double
Draft,
Fat
pass 7
Chocobo with
cards
the
to your left.
suplex and a Thunder Magic. Those are all premium commons.
Especially if you're willing to second pick
Pick up the
a
cards, you
Fat
have 15
Chocobo.
seconds.
Right.
Probably going to go ahead and take the 7th or whatever it is.
Okay, and now there's
Wow,
a Rydia
and there's
here.
Rydia. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
5
the
seconds.
business. You know how it is. You have to draft your seat, but this is looking pretty
Draft.
good, actually.
Pass
If you're
6
going to be
cards to your
Gruul,
left.
this is actually the start that you want. Thunder Magic and
Pick
Suplex
up
for
the
your
cards, you have 10
removal,
seconds.
plus a bunch of really good creatures, including 2 Fat Chocobo here. So let's just take a quick pause and take a look at this from a little bit bigger of a perspective, as these tend to be the inflection points, right? I'll tell you, Paul, though, when I'm drafting like this, when I get to this stage, now I'm willing to just say, okay, I'm green-red, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. He was already leaning into green-red, but then all of a sudden, when you do see the 7th or 8th pick signpost uncommon, that just makes that decision that much easier. Taking a look, I mean, it's all red and green cards outside of the first pick. The first pick doesn't ever dictate what colors you actually end up being. So, I mean, this is just a great start. Also, the radio works really well with Summon Fat Chocobo because it's got that ability where you can basically return sagas from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's a must-kill if you do have Fat Chocobo and Rydia. So this is a great start. We already have at least 6 cards that we want to play. The 2 Chocobos, Thunder Magic, Suplex, Rydia, and Town Greeter. If he gets enough mana fixing, I mean, you have 2 good spells already. You could potentially even consider splashing the Quistis.
Let's take a look at where things could go from here. Here's some of the key commons for, well, I guess we'll call it the Chocobo deck.
I mean, it is the Chocobo deck, so you want anything that says Chocobo here. So we have, of course, Summon Fat Chocobo. He'll, you know, with the Rydia, there's, I don't know if I've ever hit the limit of number of Fat Chocobos I want. He's already on 2. 4 is probably a good number.
How many Grave Titans would you play?
Grave Titan might be a stretch, but yes, that's really good. Call the Mountain Chocobo, also fantastic. Just make sure you keep hitting your land drops, and then also it's got the flashback ability. And then, of course, Chocobo Kick as just another good interactive spell. You have a bunch of Fat Chocobo. You want your Fat Chocobo to start kicking down your opponent's creatures. And then also, if you do splash the Quistis, it's a nice spell to flashback.
Yeah, and then you can also get the extra landfall trigger for your, you guessed it, Chocobos. Let's take a look at the uncommons that Christian may be looking for.
Well, I guess...
Is there a theme?
I mean, look, you're the Chocobo deck. You want all the good Chocobo cards, and right now we already have 2 copies of Fat Chocobo. It's not going to be hard to complete the quest on the side quest, the Raise a Chocobo. So that's great. Saz's Chocobo is the best 1-drop in the entire format. This is exactly everything that you want in your Chocobo decks. And of course, Choco Comet is also just a fantastic card that also adds Chocobos. I'm going to get sick of saying Chocobo here, but
yes,
that adds more Chocobos to the battlefield.
And if we're dreaming a little here, Paul, where are we going?
Well, more Chocobos. More Chocobos. We have the Traveling Chocobo here. It's a fantastic card. 3 mana, 3/2. Allows you to play lands and cast bird spells. So if you have more Chocobos, it works. You can cast them from the top of your deck. Bartz and Boko, normally this is a card that's not great unless you are Gruul. If you are Gruul and you have a Saz's Chocobo, a couple of Fat Chocobos called the Mountain Chocobo, all of a sudden I've played this for 2 mana before, and then it's just a fantastic card. So if you can get this, nobody else is going to want it either. So you're going to get this card for free. And then, of course, one of the best rares in the entire format in Saz Catsroy, which, guess what? Gets you more Chocobos.
It does. I think Boko is a Chocobo, right? Like, I think Bartz is the
Bartz has got to be the guy. It would be funny if it was the reverse.
It would
yes.
be. So those are the things that could be going through Christian's mind as he tries to draft what is ultimately a red-green Chocobo deck, if we haven't put the exclamation point on that yet. So let's head back down to the table and see how things unfold from here, as Christian likely is going to be
Pick up the cards, you have 10
solidified
seconds.
in green-red. All right.
5 seconds.
Right, there's a Barrett Wallace. It's you know, it's fine if you need a 4-mana creature.
5 cards
There's actually
still
not
left.
that much reach in the format, so it does have reach.
Pick up the cards,
and
you have 10
red-green
seconds.
tends to be a little more on the aggressive side, right? So just having a 4-mana 4/4 into a Fat Chocobo is
5
a decent
seconds.
curve.
How do you feel about another Barrett Wallace? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's that or the Airship Crash if you want
Draft
to consider
past 4
cards for
cards
your
to your left.
sideboard here. I don't mind the second
Pick up
copy
the
of Barrett
cards, you have
Wallace.
5
If you do
seconds.
play against a blue-white artifacts deck with a bunch of Galacats, having the 4/4 reach can be nice.
Yeah, and you know,
Draft past 3
the
cards to
curve
your left.
often does get filled out with job select equipment.
Pick up
and
the cards, you have 5
Barrett
seconds.
likes those too.
Right.
And you don't have to like do anything crazy to get those in.
Ooh, some random
encounter.
encounter.
I mean, there's a lot of
Draft, pass 2 cards to your
fat
left.
Chocobos.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Pick up the
whatever.
cards, you have 5
I would
seconds.
not be seriously considering playing either of these, but sure.
Draft.
Also, this is
Pass the last
a
card.
little more evidence that you're
You
in the
now
right
have
colors.
60
Just in
seconds
that,
to review your
if you
picks.
look at the picks for Christian this pack, the only pick that he took here that wasn't green, red, or colorless is his pack one, pick one.
Right. Exactly. He's like, I am going to do.
Like, actually.
Basically, I am just cutting off these colors. Whoever I'm passing to is just going to recognize that, hey, they're going to look at their pool and they're like, I don't have any green or red cards. The person to my right must be drafting Gruul. So hopefully Christian will get kind of the benefits here or reap the rewards in pack number 2. Now a little bit slightly top heavy, couple of 4s, couple of 5s, but hey, I mean, we do have a couple of 2s, and we do have a couple of removal spells. So, I mean, this is a really, really good base, and given the signals, you have to expect pack 3 should also go very well here for Christian. But
He's looking at Strixhaven Stadium.
it doesn't, just don't worry about it.
10
Just-
seconds
you're
remaining.
not going to have to play it.
Maybe he just likes the artwork. I mean,
Yeah,
it does
sure.
look kind of cool.
Please put all of your cards face down in a single pile.
Okay, so there's a review period done. When you,
You may now
draft at
remove
this
the
level,
wrapper
you
from
can't look at
booster
your
B,
picks anytime you
open
want. You
it,
can only
and
do it in
count that
between
you
packs
have
and for a
14
specific
cards
period
face
of
down,
time.
Please.
Yeah, so you have to be mindful of, okay, what's my curve look like? What's my removal situation? What are the things that I need to pay a little more attention to in the upcoming packs? In this case, I would be looking for more 2 and 3 mana plays. From Christian's side, the Gruul deck doesn't really want a ton of expensive plays. You want to be able to curve out and be slightly more aggressive than maybe the Blue-Green Towns deck or the Golgari decks.
See if we can't get some
Is everybody
Saz's
okay?
Chocobos here
so
for
pick up the
Christian.
cards. You have 40 seconds.
Dream big. Let's get a Saz.
Oh, there's a Saz's Chocobo.
Okay, there's a Saz's Chocobo. There's a Baron, Sephiroth's Intervention.
Hey.
But at this point, we're already locked in, and that's just
Remember,
a
you
premium
will be
common.
passing
That
to
is a
the
slam
right
dunk
this time.
first pick here for Christian Baker.
See, I never dream big. I'm always like, just give me a Saz's Chocobo. Like, I'm good. I don't, you know, the Magic gods don't have to give me everything.
Marshall, we are 8-0 at the Pro Tour.
So we
give
should be
me
dreaming
Saz.
big. Yeah. Okay, fine. But so in that case, Christian will have to settle
Sure.
for Saz's Chocobo. Great pickup, though, particularly not just
5
on power
seconds.
level, but as you mentioned, the curve, right?
Right.
Not only is it important to have a good curve, but that seemed to be the place that
Draft,
Christian was
pass
looking,
13
was on that
cards to your
lower
right.
end of the curve of like, I need to fill this out a little bit.
Yeah. Chocobo turn 1 on the play. If you just don't have a cheap removal spell for it, it just
Right,
completely
pick up the
takes over the
cards.
game.
You have 35 seconds.
All right, airship crash,
Oh, nothing
the
so
Ellis
far.
final act, something.
Prompto
Prompto.
Argentum is not very good in red-green just because you're not going to have that many 4-mana spells. If you want a 2-drop, you could take it. The other consideration here would be maybe taking the blue-green land here. You do have a Quistis, right? And
Yeah.
maybe you pick up some other blue cards to splash. I think this is an okay consideration given that Prompto is just not a card you're all that happy with
5
in a Gruul
seconds.
deck. Prompto is great if you're blue-red. But if you're Gruul, I mean, his 4-drops are Barrett Wallace's, right? It's not even going to
Draft.
trigger.
Pass 12
Right.
cards to your
Weird.
right.
Really great pack 1, pick 1, but, excuse me, pack 2, pick 1, but pack 2, pick
Pick
2.
up the cards. You have 30 seconds.
Yes.
Kind of a flop there.
Yeah, not even a red-green land.
There's a Chocobo racetrack if you want to go full theme mode. Call the Chocobo. Oh, there's a Gladiolus, though.
I mean, this pack is loaded. Chocobo Racetrack, definitely not the consideration here. It is one of the weaker cards. I know it says Chocobo on it, but that is not the one that you want. So this is really interesting. Christian already has kind of a higher mana curve, so the Gardener would be his third 2-drop, and it would be a nice way to ramp into things. But of course,
Draft.
the most powerful card and the signpost uncommon you want is Gladiolus.
I guess you could
Sorry,
hope to
it was 5
wheel
seconds.
either
He
Gladiolus
still
or
has
Call
5
the
seconds,
Mountain
sorry. If you need
Chocobo,
to
given
reveal
how
anything.
open your colors have been, but it's a risk.
Yeah, I
right,
think
pick
you're
up the
more
cards.
likely to wheel the Call the
You have
Mountain Chocobo.
25
Gladiolus is highly splashable. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm a blue-green deck, I splash it. If I'm Golgari, I splash it. So it'll be more difficult to do so for sure.
That was a very
Disciplined.
responsible adult pick there, the Gubu Gardner
For
going
sure.
in. Doesn't look like much going on here for pack 2,
Yeah.
pick
Wow.
4. What is this? Airship
Yeah.
crash?
Pack 2 is not looking very good
5
here for
seconds.
Christian. There's just
Strangely.
nothing I want. This is just, you take the airship crash for the sideboard here.
Draft. Pass 10 cards to your right.
It can be an
Interestingly,
effective card.
All
but-
green cards so far.
right?
Pick up the cards. You have 25 seconds.
Let's see if this next pick can start to get things. Oh, there's a side quest.
Okay.
Raise a Chocobo. That's got to be
Hey,
on the
you
list.
know, and there is a non-zero chance you can flip this in this deck. You already have a Saz's Chocobo and 2 copies of Fat Chocobo. So you get one of these, you get a Call the Mountain Chocobo, and we're talking.
Yeah, because Summon Fat Chocobo does a great job
5
Right.
seconds.
of adding to your count. That's a good pickup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so
Draft,
to me,
pass 9
you know, that
cards to your
shows
right.
that your lane is still open. You just gotten a little bit unlucky with what
Pick
was
up the
opened
cards,
up in
you
the
have 20
packs
seconds.
so far.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, side quest Raise a Chocobo, mostly people who are Gruul are the ones who are really going to like it. 'cause in most instances, like, Gisol is just better.
Yeah, that's
Gisol
what I
Raise
mean.
is
Your
great.
lane is
Yeah.
open. Like
Right,
you,
right,
you know,
right.
you're the only Gruul drafter. It's just
5
what gets
seconds.
open. Genji Glove. or a responsible dual land. Christian really making sure that his
Draft,
mana is
past 8
good,
cards to your
Yeah.
right.
and that's a big deal.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I
He's
mean-
playing a curve out deck.
Yeah,
up
the
the
Genji
cards, you
Glove's
have 20
kind of slow.
seconds.
I really like that Gongaga pick. I think this is just, he's showing a lot of discipline here. And it's pretty impressive to see. Vaughn,
but with all chocobos, isn't
man,
really
this pack
great.
has been extremely weak. Vaughn just
5
doesn't.
seconds.
It's a 3-mana 2/2 for the most part. It's just,
Right.
there's no evasion to it. You're not going to have that many scouts,
Draft,
pirates, or
pass 7
rogues in
cards to
play
your right.
either.
I
So-
read it as having haste.
right.
Pick up the
It does
cards, you have
not.
15
That's the
seconds.
other Vaughn, right? The
Vaughn is
alternate.
running, yeah, but not
Okay,
running
there's a
that
Balam
quickly.
Rexar. That's a really nice one. Just a
Oh,
nice
sweet.
big creature to ramp into, and also just finds you lands if you
seconds.
need. I would absolutely take the Rexar here. Good top end creature.
Yeah, this is a good pickup. Oh,
Draft. Pass 6 cards
Whoa.
to your right.
Another Guado Solemn. I don't.
Pick up the cards, you have
I
10
guess
seconds.
Christian
it's
really
not
wants
the
to play the
Quistis
Quist.
Treppe, is it?
I mean,
Is that
it has
that
to be.
seconds?
enticing?
It has to be. That's why he's taking it here. But honestly,
Okay.
there's just enough power, and Balam Rexar is just
Draft,
a really great
pass 5
creature.
cards to your right.
I would have been. I would have taken the
Pick up the cards, you have 10
T
seconds.
Rexar, but I totally get taking the Guado Solemn if you really want to put the Quistis into your deck,
5 seconds.
because now you're on 2 blue sources. 1 island, and you're looking at 3. But then you're also
I mean, I
adding a
like
bunch of tap.
Quistis. I don't
You're
like
also
Quistis.
adding a
4
bunch of
cards to
tap
your
lands
right.
to your deck, and that's not free.
Pick up the
No.
cards, you have 5 seconds.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Gladiolus did actually wheels. The
Okay.
racetrack
Pass
did
3
as we
cards to your
thought.
right.
But wow, so that one did, and the Call the Mountain Chocobo didn't. I bet you a
Pick up the cards, you
Blue-red
have
spell
5
Blue-red
seconds.
blue-red player took
Yep.
it. Yeah.
But Gladiolus tabling, he is the only Gruul drafter at this table,
Draft, pass
and
the
that
cards
has
to
to be a
your right.
fantastic feeling. That is one of the
Pick up the cards, you
the
have 5
better
seconds.
signpost uncommons. If you're a Gruul, this is absolutely everything that you want.
Man, that pick looks really good now.
The
And
Gubu
draft, pass
Gardener?
the
last card.
Oh, yes.
You got the Gardener and wield
now
the
have
Gladiolus.
90
If you told me that I
90
get
seconds to review your
both, I'm
picks.
like in for that.
Yeah. So this was a weird pack because it feels like a lot. He didn't get too much. Like every other pick, he just didn't take a card for his deck, basically. But
Yes.
wheeling that Gladiolus was huge.
Yeah, number of cards here. Saz's Chocobo, Gubu Gardener, SideQuest Raise a Chocobo, and Gladiolus are like going to make the cut.
Right.
And then Gungaga will make the cut. Otherwise, like,
Yeah.
that's 5 cards out of this pack that are guaranteed.
Right.
You know, wouldn't be shocked if like an airship crash made it, if the removal's not there or whatever. But that is light.
Yeah, it did look like a lot of the cards he needed were kind of cut off in pack number 2, but I do feel like based on what we saw in pack 1, I feel like pack 3 will be much, much better here for Christian.
Yeah. Christian got everything that you could out of the packs that were open. It just wasn't
Right.
that much good stuff from it. Yeah, I also would feel emboldened if I were Christian. You know, if I came across a solid, like let's say another Rydia, but there was also like a red burn spell or something, like I would just be taking the red burn spell and assuming that the Rydia is going to wheel or have
Sure.
a good chance of it.
Yeah, especially opening pack, right? Nobody else is going to take that Rydia.
Right,
10
these
seconds
gold cards,
remaining.
and Rydia is just an example, but any, of these Gruul specific gold cards.
Right.
I think one thing that Christian wouldn't hate to see is a
Please
few
put
more
all of your
summon.
cards in a single face-down
He's got the
pile.
2 fat chocobos, but the Rydia really does
We now
want to see
open
like
booster pack
one of
C.
the 3 mana
Please
ones.
count the
Summon
cards face
Fenrir
down.
would
You
be,
should have 14 cards.
Yes, that
kind
would
of
be the-
kind of the dream. Well, you
Yeah.
told me I could dream.
Yeah, no. Summon Fenrir
I
would
was
be
gonna
the
say
card.
GF Ifrit, but I went big.
Yeah, well, yeah. Ifrit, it's like you probably don't want to play that card anyways. But I guess if you end up with maybe 2 copies of the Rydia, it could work.
See Ian there with his flex slot jersey. That's the team he plays for. They got some really cool jerseys made. Oh, looks like some broken sleeve or something there.
Is everyone ready?
I guess Christian could also potentially be looking at some
All right,
blue,
pick up
some
the
other
cards. You
blue
have 40
splash.
seconds.
Do have the 2 blue-green lands.
Oh, there's summon Leviathan.
Oh, that's a Sephiroth. And this is a triple rare pack. There was a Eject in the pack, too.
Wow. Well, there's
And a Shantoto. This pack is loaded.
Geez,
And
Suplex.
Dragoon's Lance, one of the best uncommons in the set, too.
So for me, it's between Suplex and if I can possibly justify a Sephiroth Splash, which I have no.
There's no black land. He
Right,
doesn't have
I
any
have
black
no.
lands.
not yet.
Not yet, but I mean,
I would just take suplex.
This is just you kind of just want more cheap things to do anyways. This feels like a fairly easy suplex to me. You're red-green.
5 seconds.
You still have the blue. Even if you want to splash the Quistis, you still can. You have another
Yes.
cheap spell to play.
Oh, he
Drop.
took Summon
That's 13 cards to your
Leviathan.
left.
Okay, I can understand a lot of other picks. This one, to me, just makes absolutely no sense. It's just
How are you going to double splash?
you don't have
Pick up
ways
the
to
cards,
get
you have
lands. You have
35
two
seconds.
blue-green lands. That's it. I know this card's powerful, but it's double blue.
Ooh, Choco Comet. Yeah, man, and that was a suplex.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's another suplex,
Well,
but this time it's Choco Comet.
I mean, Choco Comet is fantastic, so you're going to slam it here. But that Summon Leviathan, I mean, you're taking it over a very, very good, efficient 2-mana removal spell. It's going to be tough. So now, I mean, Christian's kind of like, are you committed to playing the Summon Leviathan after making that pick?
I'm curious to see where the picks go from that. Like,
Right.
are we
5
going to
seconds.
see Christian maybe try to pick up some fixing?
But I
Christian's
think that just heads you
wanderings?
into a direction you
Draft,
don't want to
pass
be.
I
those cards
agree.
to your left.
Yeah.
Pick up the cards.
And I
you
like
have 30
Summon
seconds.
Leviathan, but you know what I don't like? Having a whole bunch of 2/2 Chocobo tokens that get bounced by it.
Right. There is
Oh,
a summon there.
There it is.
Two
there's two
copies.
of them.
Alternate art, but
Was there anything else?
there's a Lionheart. You could consider taking
Sure,
that just
sure.
as a way to just kill something, and it's got a reasonable equip cost to just help your creatures fight through. So
Yeah, this is like a
5
this is like a
seconds.
curve pick. Like, do you want another 4? Do you want a
Right.
3? It is going to be Lionheart.
Draft. Pass 11 cards to your
Lionheart's
left.
been fine. You can put it in your deck.
Pick
You
up
know?
the
yeah,
cards.
it's
Never
certainly
have
much
25
better in like a
seconds.
red-white deck or a blue deck that wants it for an artifact, right?
Oh, there's Ignis Scientia,
Okay. Not taking that probably.
Sandworm. Yeah, see, I mean, this is the interesting part because if we're going to be blue, I
guess
get Quistis Trepe, I get the Ignis, I get the duels.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you just say, I'm Teamer
seconds.
now, and I'm like a mid-range deck.
it's rough though because Ignis is the type of card that you want to play exactly on turn 3.
Draft,
Yes.
pass
So
10
I like
cards
the
to your
pick of
left.
the Giselle Greens just because you also have the side quest Razor
Interesting.
Chocobo.
I wonder
So-
if
Pick up the
this is
cards, you have
Christian
25
veering
seconds.
back towards, okay, I took a little shot on the Summon Leviathan, but no, we're just going to be curving
Right.
out.
Yeah. Pretty weak pack here.
Yeah, there's a Great Sword or something.
Yeah, that's the only card for him. Oh, there's a blue-red land, actually. I mean, look, you got the Leviathan, I
Come on.
suppose, and you
5
already
seconds.
have a couple of 4-drops in the
I
barrels.
mean, there's not much else here.
There's
anyway.
there's nothing else here, so maybe you just take the blue-red land here and
Draft.
and
Pass 9 cards
I don't
to your
know
left.
how many more lands Christian's going to actually need to be able
Pick
to
up the
pull off
cards, you
playing
have
this
20
Leviathan.
seconds.
But certainly he now has 3 free blue sources that he wants if he, if he puts this into his deck. It's another Magitech Infantry, so the aggressive white artifact deck also seems like it could potentially be open. But there's an Omega.
5 seconds.
And we're looking at four towns at this point. Omega is a perfectly reasonable splash here.
Draft.
And so
pass
now
8
you can
cards to your
potentially have that as a top-end card to ramp into.
left. Pick up the cards. You have 20 seconds.
So Omega, Quistis, and maybe Leviathan. That's a town.
That's... What is that green card there?
That's a Blitzball
Blitzball
shot.
shot, yes.
Yeah, could probably just take that unless he
5
really wants
seconds.
another 2-drop, in which case you can just take a Sabotender.
Draft. Pass 7 cards to your left.
Yeah, it's funny. The Omega looks quite good in
Pick
this
up the
deck
cards,
with all
you have
those
15 seconds.
with all those towns and just a good
Right.
finisher. Ooh, there's called a Mountain Chocobo. That was a racetrack as well, but as you mentioned, not great.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
a summon Brynhildir.
5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. I guess, I mean, if you need more cheap things to play, a card's
Sure.
totally fine. It's
Draft,
pretty rough
pass
if you
6 cards
if you
to your
reveal
left.
something that's expensive, right? Because this creature will eventually
the
die,
cards, you
but
have
it's
10
fine.
seconds.
I actually would have preferred the 4-mana spell in general. This has been a little bit less good than
5
I thought it
seconds.
would be.
I agree. And I think the 2-mana slot's okay for Christian.
Although
Draft,
Brynhildir
pass
does
5
work well
cards
with
to your
Iridia,
left.
so that's
Yeah.
pretty
Pick up
cool
the cards. You
combo
have
as
10
well.
seconds.
Ring of Lucii here for Christian. Is that going to make the
5
cut?
seconds.
I guess the curve did
I
get
don't-
somewhat large,
Yeah.
especially if Omega's in there.
And this
Draft,
pack's been
pass
kind
4
of
cards to your
weird
left.
in the sense that there have been
Pick up
some
the cards,
packs
you
where
have
there's
5
just not
seconds.
even a good playable card for Christian. So
Yeah, for Frit as well. I don't know if
there's an
that'll make
Ifrit
the
there.
cut.
There's
Draft,
the Blitzball you
pass
could have
3
taken
cards
if
to
you
your
want to
left.
splash the blue. But just curious to
Pick up the
see
cards, you
kind
have
of
5 seconds.
what Christian actually ends up with, given the picks that he made.
There's a Sandworm.
Yeah.
Depending on
Draft,
how
pass 2 cards
assertive
to
he
your
wants
left.
to be with this build, that could actually make the cut as
Pick up
well.
the cards. You have 5 seconds.
and then the haste magic to kind of finish the deal. So a couple of little
Draft,
potential
pass the remaining
detours
card.
along the way, but for the most part,
Please put all of your cards face
pretty
down in a single
solid
pile.
Yep.
green-red deck. I mentioned
And
at the
now
beginning that
Emily
this
is going
isn't
to
really
give you
where
some
you
more
want to be in the format ideally, but this was definitely Christian drafting his seat, and he found exactly where he was supposed to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a nice combination of good interaction. He's got both of the Gruul Signpost uncommons. He's got good mana fixing. He's got a reasonable curve, decent interaction. So I think this deck, you know, is definitely very solid. Again, we're going to see. It'll be fun to see whether or not he actually ends up playing that Summon
You wanna
Leviathan.
know?
If that was just a goof grab, we'll see.
No, I'll
Wanna
show you
me
right now. I'll show you right now. Let's
All right,
take a
let's
look
take
at
a
the
look.
deck list here and see if he's got that Leviathan.
Nope.
Nope. Oh, but the Omega and the Quistis are in there. So it looks like all
There's
of
a
the tools.
self-destruct. I have not tried that one before.
Oh, wow.
But playing Ring of the Lucii to go a little bigger, yeah, it is a little bit expensive here, so even light up the stage might not be particularly good, but I mean, how good would another suplex be in this build? But
yeah.
all in all, still a very solid deck. You have the Saz's Chocobo, decent removal, you have Gladiolus at the top end, you have Choco Comet, so it's certainly a lot of paths to victory here for Christian Baker. I really love the fact that he was very disciplined and took that Gubu Gardener. That Gubu Gardener might be one of the best cards in his deck, given the curve of this deck.
Yeah, that did play out very well. Ring of the Lucii, also interesting. I wonder if the self-destructs are for the summon fat chocobos or something like that, trying to get a little extra value. All right, well, that's going to be our draft portion for this morning. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, we are going to be back down in the feature match area, and we're going to have Christian Baker versus Jody Keith. Don't go anywhere.